Couple days ago, I made a video about Fox firing Tucker Carlson, and in that video, I predicted that in the near future, we will be seeing the fall of mainstream media. We will see independent political commentators really starting to take a rise. Guys that are, just on YouTube, Rumble, some of the self-improvement guys. Those are going to be the new face of political media. These independents, people that are more relatable because, they're closer to their audience, closer to their fan base because they're not working for a mega corporation. Um, we've seen a lot of success for them recently, and I fully believe that we will see mainstream media start to fall. And we're seeing my prediction come to fruition much quicker than I ever could have expected. According to the Wall Street Journal, Vice Media, former political powerhouse, a company that was worth $5.7 billion at its peak, is preparing to file for bankruptcy within the next several days, it says here. This is a major fall for Vice News. And, it's a little surprising because, Vice, it's been extremely successful. They've had a really long run. They've done a lot in the political space and just in the journalism space in general. They've made a lot of interesting films, interesting takes on things. I'm not a big fan of Vice. I think that it's obvious. I mean, it's obvious liberal propaganda, especially now. Even older Vice wasn't all that great. They had some slightly more interesting stuff 20 years ago, but they've always been kind of liberal and never a great media company as far as like moral values go. But they have been ultra successful, and you can't deny that. And now it's the new age of things. We're going to see the independents start to take over as these mega corporations will begin to fall one by one to this bankruptcy. People aren't interested in this type of media anymore. There was once a time when this was the only option, right? Like, if you didn't work for some major corporation that could broadcast your name out through television, which it was extremely expensive to get a spot on, you weren't like your voice wasn't going to be heard. The average normal person couldn't really make a career out of just being an independent. You had to work with somebody. There were some like radio stations, but I mean they were never going to be worth 5.7 billion, obviously. But now in today's day and age when anybody can go onto YouTube with just a mic is set up like I do with very little editing skills, and you can just go on and talk and address a mediocre sized audience, like actually, like I have the potential to reach a large audience, and you see plenty of people, independents, being capable of reaching these large audiences. Look at Slightly Offensive with Elijah Schaffer. They have hundreds of thousands of people that tune in to watch their shows. They get hundreds of thousands of views, and they're just an independent, right? Like, in today's day and age, an average person can go on and make a career out of this, and there's actually some kind of bond and connection the audience feels with the creator because it's so much closer, it's so much more personal. A YouTube channel, like the content creator can go into the comments, obviously. They can address each and every one specifically, they can heart them, they can address their audience specifically. They know exactly what their audience likes and doesn't like. While with like these major corporations, their audience is much more spread out. They are working through layers and layers of people. The guys that you actually see talking on air aren't really going to be interacting with the audience and fan base too much. So people are going to obviously start to defer to these much more personal relationships with independent creators. And it doesn't necessarily only have to be independent, but people that are, kind of working for themselves a little bit. Like even at the Daily Wire, like obviously it's still mainstream, but it's different than like a CNN or a Vice because the creators themselves, they all have their own specific show every day. They aren't stuck through layers of each other, right? They still have their own content machine that is just put inside of the mainstream corporation. And that's the only way any of these media companies are going to survive if they start to take on the same business model as a corporation like Daily Wire has. I predict they're going to do very well in the coming years, while a corporation like CNN or Fox or Vice, as we're seeing right now, or MSNBC, they're going to start to fall off. And that's what we're going to see in the near future. It's the end of cable television and the end of mainstream media in the current form. Obviously, independents and corporations like Daily Wire will take on the new role of mainstream media, becoming the same influence on society because something's going to have to take the role. But it's going to be different, and we're going to see the landscape really change in the coming years. You're going to see the political media landscape have a drastic change over the next 5 to 10-ish years. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. But Vice is going bankrupt, and yeah, that's big news. So I thought I'd talk to you guys about it because it's important for the whole political media thing. It's gonna make a big impact, a big splash on the world because Vice has such a large cultural significance to so many people and it has a such strong influence on so many. But on that note, I am going to wrap up this video. So if you enjoyed, like, subscribe, share the video. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, as I said, I'm heading out. So long. Peace out and God bless you all.